Hello and welcome to Movies with My Dad, the podcast where I, film critic Tina Kakadelis, take my dad Stratis to the movies. This week we saw Saturday Night, directed by Jason Reitman, starring Gabriel LaBelle, Rachel Sennett, Ella Hunt, and Cooper Hoffman. Join us on the spoiler-filled car ride home.
Hi, Tina.
Hi, Father.
What do we see?
Live from New York.
Was that what it was called? I thought it was just called Saturday Night.
Yeah,
Saturday Night.
It's just called Saturday Night. I just wanted to add a little
You are
flavor to
no
it.
Don Pardo.
That voice, that wasn't him, right?
That guy, if it's not...
He was so
good. He was Don Pardo reincarnated because he was amazing.
That's nuts.
And for those that don't know, Don Pardo?
I guess the announcer of Saturday Night Live?
He's the I can't even do it. There's no way you can do Don Pardo. He is an
Unless
original.
that guy did it.
All right, so what's the premise of the movie? What do we see? I guess we said what we saw.
Live. I knew they were going to end it that way, but we can't. Okay, whatever. 90 minutes before the first Saturday Night Live, which actually coincidentally happened 49 years ago today.
That is October 3rd, right?
Is today October?
The 2nd? What is
Shoot, today's the 2nd.
All right, well, tomorrow.
Mean Girls Day.
I don't know what that reference is.
When she's like, on October 3rd, he asked me what day it was.
Are we really already off Saturday Night Live?
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No.
Nothing at all?
I liked the Ella Hunt, who played Gilda Radner.
Yes.
And
she
that
was
was
good.
it.
You didn't like the way it was shot? You didn't like the frenetic energy? You didn't like...
It didn't ever feel frenetic to me. It just felt annoying.
Annoying.
And I like the score, but
I feel like you hate the director. Is that a true statement? You dislike the director's work.
I like Up in the Air.
Up in the Air. I don't even know what that one is.
George Clooney, Anna Kendrick, 2000.
Oh! Was that Jason Reitman? Is that
I
who
believe
this was?
so, yeah.
Now, is he related at all to...
Yes. Ivan?
Ivan Reitman?
Yes.
Son?
Yes.
Okay. So you didn't like the way he shot this movie?
It felt very pseudo tension building. Like, it never actually ever felt tense because they would give Lorne Michaels a problem and he'd be like, great, bye. And then wouldn't ever fix it.
Well,
and there were
that's the way Lauren actually does things.
Lorne, not Lauren.
Lauren?
Lorne.
Lauren.
Lorne.
Okay.
But
excuse me, Lauren. Lauren. I already did it twice. Go ahead.
To me, it just didn't ever feel like he ever had to deal with the consequences of all of these problems. They all just went away.
So all right, well, let me backtrack because I didn't do my homework at all on this. Other than
I was hoping
being
you did.
Being alive when this thing went live.
You were 6.
Yes, but I was alive. I have a whole question about that. We'll get to that in a minute. Did you hear anything about, was this remotely accurate, or was this like a compilation of the last 4 months of, getting ready to go live for the show? Because there's no way all this stuff happened in 90 minutes.
I don't know. I didn't do any research of it. I assumed you were coming in because you actually like Saturday Night Live. You still watch it.
I still watch it every Sunday morning.
No longer
on
Saturday
YouTube.
night. Yeah. I really don't know. I would hope that like a lot of this stuff that they would have at least thought about, beforehand.
What do you mean thought about?
Some of the stuff I was like, this is really the first time that these issues are coming up.
No, I think their depiction is probably spot on, because this was a bunch of 20-somethings
right,
putting on a network TV show, even though it was 11:30 on a Saturday night when no one's watching.
Right.
That was always known as the dead hour. Nobody was there.
Right.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they've never put something on at this scale, and definitely have never worked in a corporate environment.
No, that didn't surprise me
NBC
either.
In New York City at 30 Rock.
Right. It just seemed like, I don't know, maybe all that stuff did happen, but it just seemed like a lot. I don't know. I can't speak to that because I really don't know. But it just felt like all of the problems were just swept under the rug, and there was never a question of it not going to air. Like, I never felt for a second.
Well, because the show...
No, but like...
There's no way you could build that tension when you know there's 50 years of Saturday Night Live.
Okay, but how am I supposed to know it didn't happen October 3rd? If they had pushed it a week, I would never have known. it could have been so disastrous the first night that it got pushed a week. I don't know that. I don't pay attention to Saturday Night Live.
I guess you wouldn't know that because you have no idea who was the first guest host.
No.
And
I have no clue if any of those sketches made it.
100%. They all made it.
Well, I figured.
George Carlin was the first host of Saturday Night Live. I love George, God rest his soul. George is an amazing comedian.
I have never in my life heard you say God rest his soul.
I've never said that ever. And George, as a matter of fact, would love the fact that I say that because I've never said it in my life. But that's a whole different thing about George Carlin. I grew up with George Carlin.
I know. You've mentioned George Carlin a lot, but like I've, again, never, ever, not even like people that you know in real life who have died.
No, I
never.
would not say that about some family member that passed away.
But
George Carlin gets
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
That's crazy. Yeah, I had no idea. Like any of that could have been true or false, and I wouldn't know.
I do love the fact that George had so much cocaine before the show that his jaw locked
That
up.
I believe happened.
I 100% believe that happened.
Reasonable.
I don't necessarily believe that Jim Belushi
ran away
20 minutes before the thing starts and hadn't signed his contract till seconds before it started. I feel like there's a lot of artistic license.
I don't really think that we should get in the weeds.
No. So if, like our last movie, which was The Substance, you said I just got to go in the vibes.
Yeah.
Right?
And
you have to go just on the vibes for this one.
And I can. I will accept that everything that they told me happened in 90 minutes before the showtime. Fine.
No.
However,
it all happened somewhere before the showtime.
No, the movie presented to me 90 minutes
6
before.
months or something.
I don't care. I will even accept 90 minutes before. But my issue is that there was no sense of concern. Because one, they spent no time introducing me to these people. I don't really...
Oh, that's a good point.
I know Chevy Chase as an adult. Like, I know him as old man from Community who has done some really nasty things.
Right.
I know nothing about Jim Belushi. I know a little about Gilda Radner. But, like, the other people, not a clue.
So that's a good point.
And it felt to me
you
like...
have to know...
Well, that's what annoyed me.
Into. Right.
It felt like a superhero movie where the whole thing was built so that people could watch it and feel like they were in on the joke, but there was no larger thing going on. It was just a fun recreation of something that, like, if you knew it, you could look and see the Easter eggs, but it's not an exercise really in creating a world and creating a film.
I think it was a love letter to those of us that were...
You
there
were
at the
6.
Time. But
you were 6.
Okay, so yes, that's not right.
You were 1975.
No, it's 50 years
6.
this year, and I'm 61. So I was 10 or 11 when this went live.
5. No, you were 6.
I can't know.
You were 6. You weren't even 6 because your birthday is not before October 3rd.
It's 50 years this year.
Yeah.
On the air, did they all 50 years consecutive?
1975.
And I'm 61 in this month. So that would make me 11.
You were born
10.
in 1969.
63. Thanks for knowing.
Shoot.
We are only 30 years apart, almost exactly to the day. Way to pay attention, Tina.
Whew. Okay, so you were 12.
I'm getting a much better birthday present
11.
this year. So I was right at the edge of... I was too young to probably watch the first ones. But I don't know how this happened, but in grades... Where are you? 11, you are in middle school, right?
Yeah.
So in middle school, I remember us doing these routines.
The Saturday Night Live routines?
Saturday Night Live routines. We all would do the Jim Belushi things. We would do the Dan Aykroyd pieces.
How did you watch it? Like an
don't
older
know.
brother or sister taped it for you? Like
I don't
one of your
know.
friends?
I remember knowing the Two Wild and Crazy Guys that was Dan Aykroyd and Steve Martin, right? All of these routines, I remember.
When did Steve Martin come in the mix?
So Steve Martin was never a member of Saturday Night Live, but a recurring guest host. Not a guest host even, a guest performer. Because they had a lot of those in the day. I mean, who knew that? Did you even have a clue that the Muppets were in the first Saturday Night Live?
Did they make it?
Yeah, I think they were. I don't know if it was the very first one or they were in the first season. That I know is because I've gone back and watched them at some point in the last 10 years. So, again, did you know that?
No.
Okay. The Julia Childs sketch, I remember. They must have come back in reruns and we must have watched them.
But then you would have, in high school?
No.
But you were doing them, so somebody taped them.
No, we had no tapes. We snuck out. We snuck up.
You didn't have tape in the 70s?
No, I think our first tape VCR or Betamax, whatever it was, I was in high school at this point.
Oh.
So that was years after this went.
Okay.
And maybe I'm remembering we did all these routines in high school. And my buddy and I, Adam, shout out to Adam.
Is he listening?
Probably not, because I've never told him we're doing this. But I'll tell him we're doing this one. That we would sit in his bedroom with our record player, because I don't know how his parents allowed him to buy it. He had the George Carlin records. Mm-hmm. And we would do all of the George Carlin routines by heart.
Can you do a little something for us now?
Hey, Fada. Do I want to do this? So George Carlin plays a kid in New York City. This has nothing to do with the movie, though. Hey, Fada. And he's talking to a priest.
I don't think this is going to be good. No.
Hey, Fada. Could God make a rock so big that he himself couldn't lift? So that's the only clean one I can probably do.
And so what's the punchline?
That is the punchline. It was just a snot-nosed kid questioning the priest in his Catholic school.
I don't know.
There's a whole routine that went with this. It's fine. It doesn't have to be.
You enjoyed yourself?
I
didn't hear you laugh much.
I think the first half I was like, but as it moved on, I really started liking it. And by the end, I was pulling for it. And I was very happy. And it was fun to see the growth of these people I knew as an icon. Because by the time high school and all, Aykroyd and Belushi, these people were gods to us. Belushi did all of the Animal House things, and
because the Animal House is something that we should really
you
love
probably
and cherish.
Shouldn't, but in the day, they defined that youth culture.
Okay.
For better or worse.
And how did you feel about these young kids playing?
I think they did a good job. And was that Garrett Morris's grandson or something?
Lamorne?
Huh?
The Lamorne Morris?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he's related. I know him as an actor.
It seems
like
awfully odd that he would have the same last name as the guy he's portraying in the movie.
I didn't even know the guy's last name because nobody ever said.
Garrett Morris. He introduces himself and I didn't know Garrett Morris was an opera and a Juilliard trained actor. That was interesting. So for somebody of my age and maybe a little younger, these are people, and you learned a lot about what happened to them and how they.
But you don't even know if it's true. And it also felt really weird to be idolizing Chevy Chase, given Chevy Chase's current life.
He's just an a-hole.
No, I think he's
he's done
racist.
Something more?
Yeah.
Oh, why do all the good ones go bad?
I don't know, but it just felt very uncomfortable that they were doing that.
You didn't have a problem with Milton Berle?
Who?
Milton Berle.
Who?
He was, this is really sad, this is multi-generational, because Milton Berle's not even my generation. Milton Berle was Mr. Television. He was the J.K. Simmons. Simmons. I got
Rowling?
something. That's Harry Potter. I'm sorry.
A big author of Harry Potter made a guess the pyramids.
So, did you no connection who that guy, who he was portraying?
Not
Milton
a
Berle
clue.
was huge, and there was no lie that he had a 97% share of the audience when he had his TV show.
Okay.
Literally everyone in America watched Milton Berle.
There wasn't that much to be watching.
There were 3 channels.
Okay.
And more people.
Had a 30% chance.
More people watch TV in those days than watch it now.
Yeah.
So he had more percentage of the
because
American
they didn't have
population.
anything else to do.
They had more percentage of the American population would watch these shows. So everyone knew these shows. You have no experience to that.
I do. Okay. To be fair, in my youth, I did.
But not everyone watched the same.
Yes,
you
for
had
the most part.
TV.
No, but for the most part,
there were 100 channels when you came.
I'm telling you about my adolescence. We just sat and listened to you talk about your nonsense for a long time.
Oh.
In my youth, there were still behemoth shows that everyone watched. Even the cable TV.
Oh, I can't wait till they do the behind the scenes of the Disney Channel shows. That'll be fun.
They're all dark. But yeah, I had a taste of that. Not in the same way, obviously, but still nobody was I feel Food Network had new episodes, but nobody was really tuning in for the new episodes. People were tuning in to like Lost. You can't say that Lost wasn't a huge monolithic force of television.
I can, because I never saw it. And I don't think that many...
Yeah, but you knew, and it permeated the culture.
It did, but I bet you as a percentage of audience share,
No.
it probably never got more than a 20 share.
No.
Or even a 10 share.
But again, it's because that has changed, but I think it still did permeate the culture in a similar way.
It was known, yes.
Right.
Okay.
Are
we not going to talk about this movie at all?
Well, you did a little bit. I said my piece. I thought the jokes were really mean. I thought it was punching down a lot. I thought the women were the butt of the joke for a lot of it.
Oh, come on. The Gilda Radner, Jane Curtin, and I guess it was Lorraine Newman.
Yes, that was
that scene was phenomenal.
The only part that got a chuckle
when they play
out of me.
Construction workers.
Yes.
And objectifying Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
That is a phenomenal...
Everything else was dick jokes and like dick measuring contests.
It was the 70s and 80s.
Well, I'm just like, I don't...
We've grown, I understand.
No, I mean, people still be making this kind of stuff, and that's probably... I don't watch SNL a lot because it felt like an elongated SNL episode, and that can either mean something exciting for you or something that is nightmarish to you.
But you have to give some respect to Lorne Michaels and what he's been able to do in 50 years with this show. That it still exists, that it's still relevant.
Yeah, but I wish it felt like it was a very like polished view of it still. Like Lorne Michaels.
Oh, it was definitely, like I said, a love letter to the community.
And I don't want to see that.
I'm sorry.
Like it just doesn't. It's not. There was no real. It isolated fully anyone that doesn't, whose heroes weren't Aykroyd.
Oh, it's
and
not
Belushi.
an actual tell-all, and they're not going to give you.
Well, so then what am I doing here? I'm not gaining anything.
You were not, but like I said, those of a certain age.
But it's the
Go
same
back
thing.
and relive a little of their youth.
It's the same thing as superhero movies. It's the same reason why we didn't like Deadpool and Wolverine. It's not a movie.
I like other superhero movies.
But because you also grew up on superhero movies.
No, I didn't grow up on superhero movies.
Superhero
comic books.
Yeah, it's
movies
the same
are very
thing.
Different.
But it's still like this nostalgia thing that doesn't really like care about creating something that fully stands on its own. It is banking a lot on the memory of something else rather than it standing on its own.
It's true. So what would you call that kind of movie?
Nostalgia.
As a genre?
I mean, it's...
Oh, I'll make a callback. It's, I'll make the callback to Inside Out 2. Nostalgia finally got to come out of the basement.
Oh, the sweet little old lady.
The sweet little old lady.
June Squibb.
Yes. Okay.
I love her.
So we have now returned.
Mm-hmm.
So how many...
Alpacas.
Alpacas.
Was it a llama or an alpaca?
I think it was a llama.
Llama.
How many llamas would you give this?
1. They made Rachel Sennett not funny, and that is a feat not many movies can do.
All right. I will give this a solid 3.5. I will...
You don't want to break it.
I will.
Okay.
I'll give it, for me, a solid 3.5. I think if you are not of the generation, I think your 1.5 is probably about all it's worth.
Both of you to give me an extra
I'm giving
half
you an
star
extra
that
half.
I didn't want to give it.
So that's where I'll go with it.
Okay, say goodnight.
Good night, Gracie.
What?
You'll have to look up that reference.
I won't. That's it for this week's episode of Movies with My Dad. You can find all of our episodes online at movieswithmydad.com. You can also send us an email at movieswithmydadpod@gmail.com. My dad is desperate to hear from you. You can find me, Tina, on Twitter at Captain Ameripug or letterboxed at Tina_DOCX. You can find my dad at our local Home Depot. Tune in next week when we head back to the movies.